Hey, Jason, let's go to video on. You read me now?
Hey, I can hear you now. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Awesome.
Wow, we made it.
Barely.
Are the other two going to join us?
No, it's just me tonight.
Hey, that's plenty. That's the best part about it. Let me just do a little thing about the shadow hunters before we get into our special guest. Okay.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah. Welcome to the Shadow Hour. For everybody that's on here tonight, all we really are is wanderers of the paranormal. And I'm Greg, and I'm an investigator with Shadow Hunters. And this series covers a wide range of paranormal guests. They have crossed my path in the realm or have worked with me on events or investigations. Special events or things that are coming up for Shadow Hunters. September 26th, the Terminus Theater from 9 to 2 o'clock in the morning. The 27th of September, Lake County Ghost Tour. That all starts out of Barrington, and that covers Lake County. And that's all at the Stemple parking lot in Long Grove. You have to meet there. So go to Shadow Hunters for information about these things, and we'll know more from there. And once again, this is pretty much we support Lost Limbs Foundation on this show. So with that, I will go ahead and welcome Mr. Jason Snider from Crawford County Ghost Chasers. We've met a few times. We've been on investigations together. We've had a great time. We've been to a lot of neat places. You pretty much came across with Dale and invited Dale down for a couple of years, maybe 4 years ago it started.
Right.
We were at Mansfield together a long
Yeah.
time ago now,
Oh,
many
yeah.
investigations ago. It's really cool to know, and I haven't been down there yet. I've been down there, as you know, fishing in that on Kincaid in
Right.
that outside of Murfreesboro, but I've never been over in the corner, or as you guys call it, the triangle.
Right. Yeah, the Crawford County area.
Okay, so why don't you tell us some stuff about your area down there and its history and what's been going
Okay.
on?
Um, First off, yeah, I'm Jason Snider. I'm the founder and team leader of the Crawford County, Illinois Ghost Hunter Society. And I don't know, I've been doing this for about 25 years now. And he was asking me, some of the history and the stuff that goes on, in our county, some of the cool places we have. One of the famous places, and we actually just finished a documentary regarding this place, is called his Baker Cemetery, and it's a story regarding the hanging of Elizabeth Betsy Reed. And May 23rd, 1845, she was hung for poisoning her husband with supposedly arsenic laced sassafras tea. And she was the first and only woman to be hung in the state of Illinois and publicly executed. And she's buried in Crawford County. Well, that's the rumor. That's part of the mystery about her whole story is where she's actually buried. But uh, there's a cemetery called Baker Cemetery, and we believe, that her final resting place could be that cemetery. There is a tombstone there, with her name and her husband's name there, and it says Elizabeth Betsy Reed, death by hanging, and then it's Leonard Reed right underneath that. It says death by murder. So that's kind of neat and ironic. She killed him, and then they're buried together. With a marker, marking both of them. So that could cause a little turmoil, I think, in the spirit world itself, right there. But his Crawford County itself's got a lot of history, Greg. The Hudson Massacre took place there. Basically, the Hudson family was murdered by a tribe of Indians. When he was going off to Fort Lamont, he came back and found his family murdered and by Indians and massacred. So, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that's happened here. We've got the little town of Palestine in Crawford County, and Palestine has the Fife Opera House, and Harold Fife committed suicide inside the Fife Opera House. That's one of our active places also in the county. But the town of Palestine is reputed to be the oldest white settlement in the state of Illinois. So there's a little argument between, like Palestine and Shawneetown and Elizabethtown, which is a little farther south, who's the oldest in the county. But Palestine claims to be the oldest, white settlement. And they've actually done archaeological dig sites there and found, pre-civilizations, that date way back, as long as, that as well as, the Native Americans that were here, everywhere in the county. So we got a lot of history here in the county, a lot of ghost stories, a lot of strange happenings, a lot of haunted churches, a lot of haunted cemeteries, just some cool stuff in our area.
A lot of Mason lodges too.
Yes,
Masonic
yes.
lodges, excuse me.
Uh-huh. Yeah, a lot of Masonic lodges in our area, and for some odd reason, well, I'm a Freemason myself, and I think it's just because of the dedication, that those guys and we put into that. I think that's why a lot of your lodges are haunted. When people die or pass away, they come back, and haunt the places they love to visit or spend a lot of time in. And I think that's the reason why your Masonic lodges, they also have like a lot of energy, there's a lot of positive energy put into those places with the degree work and everything. And but we are doing a haunted overnight at a Masonic lodge. It's actually in Lawrence County, not Crawford. But we've got one down there that has ties to Abraham Lincoln. There's the Underground Railroad. Underneath the altar of the Masonic lodge is actually a tunnel that goes to the river. So it was part of the Underground Railroad, and it was a pre-Civil War church where Abraham Lincoln attended. And we've got a lot of activity there, and we're actually doing a haunted overnight in September and October of this year for the public, so they can come see that place too. But yeah, we got a lot of stuff down this way. You need to check it out sometime, Greg.
Oh, I'll be there. I'll be there shortly. But the other point is knowing all this valuable information and your team going ahead and doing all these different sites. Why don't you go ahead and let everybody know a little bit about your part in the documentary of the hanging of Elizabeth Reed?
Like what we actually did, you mean, for the documentary?
I watched the documentary, and I was really impressed because it's filled with facts, dozens and dozens of facts about everything down there, which is really cool.
Right.
And I know that you don't want to pat yourself on the back, so I'll pat you on the back and say, wow, you were involved in pretty much every detail of the documentary, weren't you?
Yeah, we were involved in a lot of it. The production of it, helping with it. As far as getting people together, even to interview. We were finding people to interview about local history that knew as much or more than what we do. We tried to find historians to interview. We tried to find locals in the area to interview. And we helped with the production, the sites, that we filmed at, which were, several. We filmed it in an old football field where she was brought out to be hung. She was hung on the old football field or in that area. And, the Lawrenceville Cemetery, one of the rumored places she was taken after, is one of the places supposedly they might have taken her and buried her, was outside the old Lawrenceville Cemetery after that. But and Baker Cemetery, in Crawford County, where they supposedly, after that, they dug up the body and moved her to Crawford County. So it's a heck of a story. If you guys haven't seen the documentary, I definitely recommend you watch it. But we helped with the production, myself, Jason Dickerson, of course, Joe Turry, he's the one that produced it. And he done a really good job, with producing the documentary, putting it together. And he done his magic of making that thing flow too, I'm like, we, when you're out there filming, seems like you're doing a lot of filming and a lot of work and all that, a lot of different scenes at different places. And you wonder how it's all going to come together. And man, Joe did a really good job as far as throwing all that together and making it flow and look good. So, I mean,
it was well put together, I mean,
Yeah,
it was amazing. I've
Thank
been
you.
involved in like 3 myself with Chuck Williams he's in Indiana in Hammond. And
Yeah.
he did those 3,000 words on Bachelor's Grove. And
Yep.
then he did the train wreck, the circus train wreck of 1917 or
Yeah.
17 or 18. So, you know, I understand what goes into it, but you guys did such an amazing job for the guy, this Totoro guy, because of the fact that, man, you did all his running for him. You got all that information together, which is
Right.
absolutely fantastic. You know, you guys really did a great job.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Greg. Glad you liked it.
Oh, I mean, it's a pleasure to go ahead and have somebody like you on, because not only are you involved in that, but you know, you run an investigative group, and
Right.
you're out. You know, I don't know how you do it. I mean, really. One of my first questions on that part would be, how many investigations do you do in 6 months
In 6 months.
or a month? Say a month.
Uh, Let me think about this. Well, I mean, we do probably on an average month, we do probably at least 25 investigations a month or less, you know, I mean, 20, 25, somewhere in there. I mean, we're going like, we go all the time. And sometimes we do multiple investigations a night, even on weekends. Like sometimes we'll do preliminary investigations at houses, and then we'll go right to another house. And we've got so many houses, but definitely 20, you know.
So those are all private though, right?
We do a lot of private investigations, yeah, of houses, but we also do a lot of cemetery investigations, and where we just go out, you know, at night and investigate, you know, local places that have been, you know, that have reports of paranormal activity. I mean, we're literally going all the time. I mean, I'm on a lack of sleep right now, even, you know, and we go out all the time. And I don't know how many we ended up. We were doing a live paranormal quarantine series there for a while,
Yeah.
and I don't remember what number we ended up doing on or ended with that, but I think it might have been 30 something, maybe 40. I don't remember how many we done just during the you know, the quarantine stuff we were doing too. But we tried to be active, you know, even when the quarantine was going on, we were still going out and trying to investigate, you know, outdoor locations that we could. But yeah, I don't even know as far as how many investigations. I'd have to look at my record to see how many we've done this year, even already.
I was just curious, because it seems that, you know, there's not enough days in the month for you,
I know it.
you
Yeah.
know, and when you look at it and you look at the people that you have involved, you have to have a lot of dedication for those people to keep it going right up against the grindstone to get it
Oh
done.
yeah. Yeah, there's some guys, you know, some of my team members make it. You know, I have about 14 to 20
Oh,
active
wow.
members that go with me, not all the time. You know, we switch off. And there's about, you know, when we go in to investigate a house or a location or a business, I limit it to a 7-person maximum, you know, because I don't want any more than 7 people, because we like to keep a controlled environment. You know, because we take a very scientific approach when we investigate, you know, houses, businesses, or any location we've been called into. And I think you get more than 7 people in a you know, a smaller place. It's hard to say, you know, hey, did he just whisper during an EVP session? You know, it's hard to keep track of people. So we like to keep our numbers small when we do, you know, investigations like that. But as far as like active members, you know, there's about 5 of us that go a lot. You know, like Jason Dickerson's one of them, Courtney Mendenhall, Courtney Bowen, you know, Allison Turner. She's one of my new team members. She's been going a lot. I mean, got Amanda Johnson, and then some of my older team members, like they've joined again too. So like I've got a pretty big team right now, you know, with which is good, because, you know, like I say, if somebody can't go, I can have somebody else fill in. So it works out pretty good most of the time. But we go, you know, a lot, and we do a lot of you know, when I say investigations, like we will go out at cemeteries and do ITC and EVP research investigations, where we're doing ITC experiments with different, you know, devices, ghost boxes, recorders. We're really into the communication and EVP part of it.
Why don't
I
you,
kind of gave.
excuse me, why don't you explain to everybody everything that they need to know about ITC as far as the difference between the old times and what's going on right now?
Okay, it's changed a lot.
Yeah.
It's changed a lot pretty quickly. From back in the day when we was using the old fashioned cassette recorders. That you couldn't flip over. We started out doing that where you didn't want to use the backside of the tape because you could get bleed through and all that good stuff. And you have to use an external mic so you don't pick up the internal gears on your cassette recorder. And it's evolved into digital technology now where we're using digital recorders to record electronic voice phenomena and voices of the dead, basically, that you can't hear with your own ears. And the technology is getting better and better all the time, to the point where I honestly think someday, I mean, we're going to have a telephone to the dead, I hope. Yeah, and that's what it's working toward. The ITC side of it, or instrumental transcommunication, that's contacting or getting hold of spirits through any type of electronic device or electronic means. And that can be from your cell phone to people seeing your white noise and a face come through your TV and a voice, to digital recorders, answering machines. People have picked up voices on answering machines they weren't supposed to be on there. Just a lot of stuff is going on. But the newer technology that we're coming out with now, the ITC devices and the ghost boxes, these radios are designed to, or modified to, scan and skip through all your radio stations extremely fast. You got AM and FM, and you can switch bands on it. So sometimes the AM band works better, sometimes the FM band works better. It just depends on where you're at and what's coming through at that point. But I mean, what these devices do is they're designed to skip through and cycle through your channels and frequencies really quick. And what we're looking for is intelligent responses. You get a lot of garbage, you get a lot of garble. You got to be extremely good at deciphering what can or is an intelligent response, because a lot of people will pick up stuff, and it's what we call audio pareidolia. It's the same thing as pareidolia, with your photographs and stuff. Only you're hearing things that aren't actually there because you want to hear them. So you got to be extremely careful with that and make sure it is a clear, intelligent response to your question. And that's what we look for. We want names, dates, something associated with the location we're at, not just random pieces of information coming through. And it's hard to do that sometimes, but we've had some crazy stuff come through while we're doing ITC research. And to tell you the truth, I was not a big fan of the whole ghost box thing. I was not a fan. I'm skeptical. I like to debunk things. I like to find scientific explanations for stuff. And I started getting hardcore into the ITC side of it and using these ghost boxes, and there was just too much stuff I can't explain. Some things you just can't explain.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
When you said that, it's like when we first started out with spirit boxes.
Yeah.
We used headphones and we started getting into the Estes method.
Right.
It was full words that we heard. They had to be a word.
Right.
They couldn't be, part of a word and you think it's a word, only the words you hear. And,
right.
That's evolved now into 2 or 3 words at a time and this kind of thing.
Yeah.
And you saw what was going on at Old South Pittsburgh.
Oh yeah.
Which was pretty crazy that night with Kelly.
Yeah.
And Kelly Griffey's out there somewhere. I know she's listening in, and it was like, wow, if it wasn't for Kelly, she was great that night, and we did a lot of stuff together that night. And she's been leading me along. She's been my eyes in the storm as far as getting this all together.
Right.
And she was just waiting in case something went wrong here.
Yeah.
I just want to put a thank you out to her because I know she's always been great with me, and I know
Yeah.
that.
I like Kelly too. She's a good lady. She's been on several with us now with Dale, when he comes with us and stuff. Kelly, yeah, she's awesome. I give her a good, a good round of applause too. Cause I mean, I think she's going to do really well in the paranormal field,
Oh
and,
yeah,
continue with it for years. I mean, she's doing a great job. So.
Kelly, thank you very much wherever you are. And the next part would be, I would go ahead and say, you get ready to do a private investigation.
Uh-huh.
Do you go in for an interview before the investigation, or?
We do. We get so many calls and so many emails. We actually have a system where we start out with a telephone interview with the subject or client, and no offense or anything, but we rule out a lot of the wackos like that. And unfortunately, you get them, in this field. Like you have people that think everything is a ghost. They hear their pots rattling in the middle of the night. And they don't look for the mice that's going through their cabinet, or the coons in the attic, or you know. But yeah, we do a telephone interview process first, and if we think it's a legitimate activity, and we think these people are legit, then yeah, we'll go to their house and interview them, and do what we call preliminary investigation, where we take EMF meters, our basic handheld equipment in, and see if we can find any explanation or natural explanation for what the people are experiencing. And I have a huge problem with the way EMF meters are being used in the field of paranormal research today. They're not being used right. Um, what we use EMF meters for is to actually find natural or man-made sources of electromagnetic fields.
Okay.
We're not looking for ghosts when we're doing an EMF sweep. We're looking for actual fields in the house that could be affecting the subjects or clients in that house and their mental ability, because high EMF fields can lead to EMF induced hallucinations, health problems,
Right.
nightmares, all sorts of stuff. I've said this over and over again. We've done multiple investigations where a refrigerator was a bad cause of an EMF source going through a wall on one side, and they have their bed butted up against the fridge on the other side of the wall. So they're getting that EMF through the
They're getting
wall
dosed.
from the refrigerator, and it was giving them nightmares. We just tell them to either move the fridge or move the bed, and boom, the activity stops and there's no more haunting. So EMF fields can influence the human mind, and cause weird things to happen, especially if you're exposed to them night after night after night. A high EMF field, but when we use our EMF meters, that's what we're looking for. We're looking for any unusual or high EMF readings inside the house. It could be due to bad wiring, or electrical appliances, or microwaves giving out, a lot. But I'm not saying ghosts and spirits can't, I guess, create an electromagnetic field themselves, or draw from those electromagnetic fields and manifest. But it's very rare, and it's very rare to say a hit on an EMF meter is caused by something paranormal, because uh, there are so many man-made sources nowadays of EMF and things that cause your K2 meter to flash, or your Mel meter to go off. I mean, two-way radios, you got internet, you got Wi-Fi signals, your cell phone, the RF coming, through the air, everything, affects an EMF meter. So in order to say that an EMF hit is something paranormal, you've got to be in an extremely controlled environment, no power sources anywhere, no power lines. The power has to be killed to the house, or you're out in the middle of a cornfield like we are down here.
Yeah.
We're out in the middle of nowhere, where there's a lot of cemeteries with just fields and no power around them, and if you get an EMF hit in a location like that, sure, you got to start to question, what caused that. But otherwise, you got to be extremely careful with EMF meters. I'm not a big fan of the method where you leave the K2 out and ask questions and it lights up. I think that's kind of like the old flashlight method back in the day, where you put the mag light up there and it just short circuiting because you don't turn it on all the way, and then you ask a question and it lights up. I mean, I guess we're more scientific than that. We like to say, when we present evidence to the public, that it's evidence, that we can prove or disprove, or say this is going on or that's going on. It's not just us basing our information off of false hits or anomalies we're getting.
How far north have you traveled
How far north?
in Illinois and during the regular, do you go up to, like, for instance, Alton or anything like
Oh,
that?
oh yeah, we actually go all over Illinois. Um, we just got a case too up in, like, probably 45 minutes from Oak Lawn, from Dale's area up there. And you
Oh,
guys
wow.
like, but I was actually going to see if Dale would take it, and I can't remember the name of the little town. I'd have to look it up.
There's a bunch of little ones, and it sounds pretty like, if you said that, it might be close to where Kelly is. Susan
Yeah,
Downers Grove.
I may be able to check it real quick while I'm on the air here. I'll look,
Okay.
but yeah, we go all over Illinois, Greg. We've investigated, all over the Alton area. We went to we've actually investigated McPike Mansion over there, toward the Alton area, Cahokia Mounds. We investigated the area where the birds on the cave over there in Alton, the old prison site at Alton.
Wow.
Um, and then up north, when we go north, we've investigated, well, both locations that are supposed to be Cemetery X and the books and stuff. And there's a big argument over which cemetery is Cemetery X. So we investigated both of them just so we knew we'd hit them both. So, because there's two Anderson cemeteries up there. There's also a location near Cemetery X with what they refer to as Cemetery X, that's called Witch's Bridge. And
Yeah.
it's just right around the corner. And we investigated it. Now, we actually found some cool activity on it, some EVP activity that was unexplainable. But the both locations labeled Cemetery X, we didn't find anything. And that's what we find. A lot of these places that have a lot of hype, or especially your places like the Ashmore Estates, or the places you pay to go into. Nothing against that, and I know they have to make money to keep these places going, but there's a lot of hype to keep those places going too. And in my opinion, you got to hype them up and say they're haunted, or people aren't going to come to them. But we find evidence very rarely. I tell people, 98% of the time we can explain the stuff, we find. And, we take a different approach than a lot of teams. We don't go in looking for a ghost. We go in looking for an actual explanation. So it's like,
Right.
and I think it's the mindset of the investigator that produces those results too. If you go in wanting to find activity, you're going to find it, because you're preset, and your mind's preset in finding something already. So, we go in with kind of an open yet skeptical mindset, and we just let the place show itself to us. And that seems to work for us a little better, but.
Well, they're like people
Sorry.
too. They show up when they want to show up, and if they don't want to show up, they don't. So, it's 50-50
Right
there. So, no matter how bad you want to see them, they may not. It's like you looking at me right now, and you probably see a purple pony down there behind me. You see behind me down there?
Yeah.
You see that purple pony? That's not really there, Jason.
Yep. Oh gosh, I better go to bed. I knew I'd been up too long.
It's of all the big long investigations you've been on, what's your favorite?
What's my favorite one?
Yeah, like the ones that have been, a day's trip out.
I'll tell you what, like, well, you were at Brushy Mountain, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. One of my favorite ones, my memorable ones, the longest, the trips we've taken recently, was that Brushy Mountain prison in Tennessee, because me and Courtney, I don't know if you ever watched the video or anything, but we had a video that we played on our show, and we had up and everything. We were in the D block, and it was just me and Courtney in there. And we started hearing weird things during an EVP session that I couldn't explain. It sounded like a door opening, and it was really loud, and it slammed. And we got it on the recorders also, and on the live feed. So we went back and reviewed that. You could definitely hear what sounds like a door going and slamming. And the weird thing about that is I went around to those cells in D block, and I couldn't find one that was not welded shut. So, all the doors are welded shut or fastened shut to where they won't open. So, we heard what I believe to be residual activity of a prison door opening and slamming in there, which I still can't explain. I went outside. I ran around the whole D block to see if anybody was out there. I yelled at the staff up front. I got on the radio even. I said, is anybody out there? Nobody was out there. I talked to the staff afterwards, make sure nobody had snuck up there or something. And they said they were all up at the front, and I believe them because I went out there pretty quick, couldn't find anyone. So that's one of the places I think was pretty cool we've been recently, that sticks out in my mind.
I did a little preliminary viewing before we went there, and it involves a guy by Omar Bygosh or whatever his name is on YouTube.
Yeah.
He was in there, and they were in the cafeteria area, and they had that chair moving around.
Yeah.
And it was like, who's got the fishing line,
Right.
But
yeah.
at the same time, you don't know.
Sure.
That area of, it was like their stage area that we were in.
Right.
You're all back there, and it had the stage, and then those individual rooms in front of it, whatever that was. And it was like crazy.
Yeah.
I was overwhelmed in there. There was something going on in there.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
go ahead. No, go ahead.
Yeah. I was just gonna say, yeah, you got to be real careful with some of these places, because I'm always careful. I'm always, when we're doing our little walkthrough, and when they take you through and tell you the history and what people have experienced there before, I'm always looking up the ceilings. I'm looking to see if there's wires, like you're talking about fishing string, is there speakers? Is there any Wi-Fi signal coming into these locations? Can they be doing something remotely, with RF signals to influence people to think there's something going on? I'm always trying to debunk places when I go in. One place I'm not fond of, I like this place, and I'm nothing against, I don't think Rob and Terry at the Ashmore Estates would do this or anything, but the thing I don't like about the Ashmore Estates is there's a room there that's locked off, and then there's speakers all over the Ashmore Estates, placed different locations. I don't like that for paranormal research and investigations. I don't know what their point is behind it, really. I think they said they do a haunted house in there, maybe, and maybe they do play like sounds over it. But I don't like the possibility that somebody could be hoaxing it and playing sounds over those speakers, during a paranormal investigation with people in there. So I'm real careful and look at places, and there's some places like I question, like, why is this here? Why is that there? In a place that's supposed to be open for people to investigate and try to find activity, it kind of defeats the purpose sometimes of having a controlled environment and trying to scientifically investigate a place, and there's, a lot of Wi-Fi signal speakers and everything running through the building. It's just hard to, do an actual investigation.
Did you do a lot of stills back in the day, taking individual pictures, IR pictures?
Oh yeah. We use infrared photography. We use infrared film. We had to all that back in the day. In the photography part of it, we took a lot of pictures, done a lot of photography to start out. And, of course, back in the day, everything was a ghost, and orbs were ghosts, and, just dust particles and all that now. But that's why I'm like, we hardly ever do any photography anymore, because there's hardly any picture I can look at that I'm not trying to sound like I know it all or anything here, but like if I look at a picture, a ghost picture somebody sends to me, I can debunk about 98% of them. Even the ones I take. I've taken some and I've been like, oh, what is that? And I'll go back a week later and finally, after staring at it and looking at it or going back to the side, I debunk my own photographs. It's
wow.
Like photography, I would say, is the hardest and rarest thing to get in the paranormal field, in my opinion. I would say, a paranormal anomaly appearing on film is extremely, extremely rare. You see all these pictures in windows and reflective surfaces of ghosts and spirits, supposedly. We don't accept any picture that has been taken in a reflective surface. If it's a window shot, if it's a reflective glass in a china cabinet, if it's a reflective tombstone, glass in a door, we throw all those out immediately, because there's so many flash reflections. and it's matrixing and pareidolia 90% of the time, causing that. People want to see something in that image that's not there, and we get hundreds of ghost photographs. In like a 2-week period of just that. People sending us shots that was taken in a window or a mirror, and I just and I look at them. I'm not saying it couldn't happen, but it would have to be like me looking at you you right now in that picture for me to say that something in a reflective surface was something paranormal.
Yeah.
But I don't know. The photography part, I can, like I say, I can debunk most photographs. A lot of it's caused by dust particles, moisture in the atmosphere. Your shutter speed on your camera is a big thing too. When people move their camera, when it's been exposed to light, and the shutter speed, it throws those trails and stuff behind what they call orbs, and it looks like you've got a moving ball of light. Or even dust particles can look like that if they have a wind current behind them. If you got a dust particle flying across the cemetery with a pretty high wind or crosswind, it'll cause all your dust particles to have trails behind them also. So, either the object you took a picture of too close to the flash and the lens is causing that, or something else. But yeah, 9 times out of 10, that when that flash goes off, it reflects off of those close particles, and reflects it back and makes it look like a ball of light, and it's actually just dust, rain, pollen, and even pollen can cause different colors to happen. And there's a coating on a lot of your cameras too, that purple coating. I believe it's magnesium fluoride. I may be wrong on what that is, but I think it's magnesium fluoride coating on your camera lenses. That can cause purple tints and purple orbs to appear. So there's a lot of false anomalies that can happen with photography if you don't know what you're doing. Your camera strap getting in front of your lens, a hair getting in front of the lens. Females with long hair, they have a tendency of holding the camera up here and their hair dangles down in front of it. And you get this little worm looking thing coming through, and oh my God, it's a ghost. And they're just, I don't know. I can debunk most pictures. It's like I've seen very few pictures that I'm like, oh my gosh, I think that's actually a ghost. So, that's why we concentrate on the communication, like the ITC and the EVP part of it, because that I cannot debunk. I cannot debunk an intelligent voice coming across a device responding to my question that comes out of thin air. That I cannot debunk. That's why I'm really interested in the EVP and the ITC right now, because like photography bores me now. Now I'm into the the communication part and trying to actually get intelligent communication with whatever it is we are communicating with.
I like it a lot because I can take it along on a tripod, and everybody else has all the other equipment anyway.
Right.
So I can go off the back end and just take random shots when everybody's already gone.
Sure.
That
Yeah.
he might come up with something somewhere. So.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I'm not saying we shouldn't get rid of it type of thing. Definitely. Yeah. You definitely should do photography. And we take a lot of pictures on our investigations, but we're not documenting or trying to find a ghost. Usually we do go back and look at them. If we find a ghost, then good. But we're documenting the scene like a crime scene when we go in to take pictures. That's why other teams kind of get mad at us, because we take a lot of pictures, and we will go through each room, snap, 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 because like if we go on later in the investigation and we see that maybe we thought something moved on our video, or something was out of place we didn't think was there, we'll go back and look in those still photographs or even our video footage we took previous, and to see if it's moved. We're going in like crime scene investigators. We'll go back at our still photography and still photographs and look to see if if that picture actually moved or went crooked on the wall, or that the thing was out of place that we thought moved. So that's a good thing for photography, is actually documenting the location instead of like just looking for ghosts. Document everything in that room for purposes later in case something happens.
A lot of those locations, you come up with pictures that, people just, you could blow it up and put it up on a wall like Mansfield.
Yeah.
I had some pictures shooting up in the east cell block that was 6 stories tall or 7?
Yeah. Yeah.
Something like that. And, it was like shooting the scene out of Alien.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was just unbelievable. Uh, I'm not on that same note, but we've talked a lot about your team. Do you have any mediums on your team?
Um, that's another thing I mean, we do, we do have people that have abilities. And they don't really publicly make it acknowledge that they have abilities, but
Okay.
yeah, we have a couple people that do have abilities on our team. That's another thing we don't use on investigations is a psychic, because again, we're so scientific based in the nature and the way we investigate things. And again, I'm not bashing any other team or anything out there. Everybody has their own way of doing things. This is just our way of doing things. Um, we don't use psychics on our investigations because we want to be able to provide evidence and proof of the paranormal that everybody can see and hear. If one of my team members is over there saying, hey, he sees your dead grandma over in the corner, you're just taking his word for it. I want to
Right.
show you a picture of your dead grandma over in the corner. So we want to do things in a way that everybody can see and hear. We've got documented evidence either through audio recordings or photography, video, of proof that we can provide to the client or the people that something's going on. That's why we don't use psychics on our investigations. It's not that I don't believe in psychics or mediums. I totally believe that people have abilities. I mean, I do believe that because I've seen and heard things weird, myself. So, I mean, I do believe the ability is real. I just, I don't find it a valid way to present evidence to people.
We were we were we were talking about it in the groups. And in our group,
Uh,
I was always saying that if we were going to continue to do private investigations, that on the interview, if you took yourself and then a person with gifts into the location,
yeah,
that it could give you a better idea of exactly what you're biting into too. You know what I mean?
right, right.
And that's the way I always intended them to use them too. And
Yeah,
it was just because it takes some of the footwork out of it, as far as going ahead and having to go in with, do that, and then you got to go back in and set up and try to go ahead and tear the place apart, figure out where everything is. I
right.
know we have a lot of psychics up here.
Uh-huh.
There's a lot of them around, and
Yeah.
one of the ones. Well, we have two of them in our group,
Uh-huh.
and one of them is Scotty Rourke, who's the psychic medium from up in Madison. I
Right.
don't know if you've ever met Scotty, but
Mm,
he's unbelievable.
I don't think I've met him.
He's just he came out to Pollock Hospital with us out in Peoria, and he was pointing
Huh.
things out that were just baffling.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we got a guy in ours that's pretty good too. I mean, he sees and hears things, but it's like, and I tell him, I encourage him to use that ability while we're investigating, just not to make it known,
Right.
you know, and tell me afterwards, the investigation. Okay, what did you see? What did you hear? And if it's anything cool, we've got to just look at it, kind of take it with a grain of salt, just because of our approach. I mean, if he's finding corresponding things, with the historical research I've done and the records, and he's coming up with names and dates that matches up to that, then yeah, that's really strange, and it's cool, but I still can't present that as evidence. It's like, because not everybody can do that, not everybody believes that, and it's like, even though I can prove, that through historical research that this guy's right, it still doesn't prove that he didn't read my historical research previous to the investigation or something, So it's like, that's why, I'm not a big fan of using it during investigations. But yeah, we'll have a group discussion, afterwards, and talk about it, and see what they came up with and everything like that, just for our own information, our own knowledge to use.
See where the pieces of the puzzle fit together
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
to tie it all together to make it, one whole big
Definitely.
investigation
Yep.
pro.
Yep.
I know, I remembered all the great filming you guys did out of Gettysburg on live Facebook.
Oh yeah.
And to a lot of people that didn't see that and don't understand it, I have always recommended to them that what they need to do is they need to catch on to a group that's going out there that's doing live. And even for their reference for a couple years down the road, it would give them a little idea what's they see something they like and they can go ahead and make a note of it. And then when they get out there, they could cut some of their footwork out too.
Sure.
That place was amazing. And you guys were down in the triangular field and I was going crazy trying to put these notes in because you guys, those granite boulders that were over by the woods halfway
Yeah.
down, there was a big slab of granite. And I don't know if I had mentioned it to you or not, but that's where I had in April, I had set myself up.
Uh-huh.
And it was far enough that, you could hardly see them at the top of the hill.
Yeah.
But it was still a great location. And I could feel them in the woods.
Yeah.
And I'm not making this up. I just, they were there. And it was like,
Yeah.
and they're all brothers,
Yeah.
it's the part that, you could go ahead and you have a connection there. I
Right.
do. And you probably do too, because you were military, right?
Yeah. It's like, yeah, I couldn't hear anything like loud, like are you talking that slab down there? Is that where you're talking?
Yeah.
Yeah, you were down at that same spot
Yes.
in April. Is that what you're saying? I couldn't hear
In
you.
April, and it was 3 years ago
Yeah.
with Dale.
Oh,
And
3 years ago.
yeah, in April.
Okay, yeah, I couldn't hear you for a minute. You was cutting
Okay.
out. So I got you now.
Okay. I'm sorry. I thought I
Yes.
was acting up or something.
Oh no, sorry about that. Yeah, see, that's weird. I wonder if we were standing in the same spot. You think we were? Because we
Yes.
went down. Yeah, we went to a little slab area right down there, and we started hearing what sounded like gunshots, like cannon fire, and weird stuff. And that was at Triangular Field is where
Yes.
we started hearing that originally. And we heard it a couple other locations in Gettysburg. I think one of the best places was is it Iverson's Pit? Is that what it's
Pits.
called?
Iverson's Pits.
Yeah, Iverson's Pits. Me and Dickerson were out toward the field area, and he had his task cam going, and he caught this. We still got to go back and review this, but he was recording when it happens. But we have not, went and completely confirmed, what we heard yet. But we heard gunshots in the background. We heard what sounded like cannon fire. Then we both heard what sounded like shouts, like somebody shouting back and forth from somebody to another and like giving commands. And he was running the task cam at high quality. He should have picked that up. So I'm still excited to go back. I haven't got with Dickerson because we've all been busy, and haven't even got through that audio recording yet. But that's something I definitely want to get together and see if we pick those shouts up, because I'll tell you what, man, that was weird. I can't explain that. The only thing that bothers me is about 3 minutes after we heard the explosions, it was a little ways after we heard the explosions, off in a different direction from where we heard it, fireworks were going off.
Oh.
So so I have to kind of debunk it. There's my skeptical side coming out again. Wasn't fireworks we heard going off in the distance, but it wasn't the direction we heard the shots from, and that definitely was not the commands we heard.
Right.
There's no way we could have heard two people yelling at each other as far away as those fireworks. Those fireworks are probably, I don't know. I know around here we've got pretty flat ground. You can see fireworks for 10, 20 miles, going off some places, if you're on hills, or you can see out across there. So I can't really judge the distance on how far those were. I would say at least 5 to 10 miles away from us, which we could have been hearing the echo from them, but it didn't sound like fireworks that I heard. It sounded like gunshots, or maybe a firing line, and the shouts were definitely weird.
And did you hear cannon?
I believe so. I mean, it sounded like a louder boom. You know,
Boom.
you heard what sounded like maybe a line or artillery line of muskets or something going off, of rifles going off, and then a bigger boom, like boom. You know, it was really strange. And we heard that at Iverson Pits. We heard that at Triangular Field. I hollered at Dale, you know, at Triangular Field on the radio if you watched their live feed. I'm like, "Are you guys hearing that? Are you guys hearing that gunshot?" And Dale wasn't hearing it in his location, but some of the guys, the two individuals from the team called Ghost Head Soup,
Yes.
they
Dean
were
Thompson.
there. Yeah, they told me afterwards that they did indeed hear it. So they were in a location where they could hear it also. So that kind of made us feel a little better that, you know, they also heard the what we heard down there. So
It's just an amazing location. And I've always said to everybody, and I've been there twice, but my first time was when I was a child. I was 10.
yeah,
And I was with, you heard that story about me and my family. It was my
right.
grandma and my uncle and my father and my sister. And we all heard it together, but we were over by Reynolds Woods
Hmm.
where you
Oh
guys,
yeah, so
yes,
you guys heard it by Reynolds Woods.
yes. But
See, that's
it would come in with the wind. You know what I
yeah.
mean? When the wind would die down, then you would hear a boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, and that's weird because like that Reynolds Woods area, like I don't know why, but from the moment we got into the area, you know, we did a little history tour with Dale, you know, and he took us by that area and showed it to us before that night, before we done an investigation there. Uh, that place drew me in more than any place there. I think like it was for some reason I thought, man, something's wrong with this wooded area, and that's why like. Unfortunately, at the Pickett's Charge area, when we were set up with Dale there on the last investigation, we got a lot of noise contamination coming in, and people pulled up real close to where we were at in a car, and they were talking and yelling and cussing. So we took off out of there and tried to find a new location. I said, well, let's go to Reynolds Woods, just out of the, you know, just decided to go there for how the heck of it. And we were getting some weird stuff in there along the trail. I mean, we were starting to get some intelligent communication on the ghost box and everything. And I definitely would, if we go back there, I would like to do more at that Reynolds Woods area because I think that was probably a pretty good spot.
I was waiting that night when I was watching all that. And it was like you guys got there and I went, wow, you know, compared to what was back there, it's like this is being in
Yeah,
heaven, you know. And when you went into the woods and I'm looking at the clock and I'm going, Jason, you're gonna have to get out of there pretty soon.
I
They're gonna
know it. Yeah,
drag you out. But it was like, you know,
yeah,
hey, wait until they come, you know.
yeah,
It's too live, like, you know, when you guys
yeah.
had all those responses, and it was like, no, I don't think I want to leave.
I know. Yeah, we were getting such good stuff. We were pushing it right to our time limit there. We were like, gosh, I don't want to leave, but we have to. But yeah, we were right up until closing time there on that investigation. So
Well, you had two other good groups with you, and you know,
oh yeah,
Dale's amazing when it comes to Gettysburg. And every time,
yeah,
you know, if you
oh yeah,
want to
his
learn a bunch of stuff, he's
yes, yeah, Dale Kazmarik's historical knowledge on Gettysburg just amazes me. You know, I mean, you can tell he's done a lot of research into that area. I mean, yeah, it just blows me away all the stuff he does know, you know, about the area. And I definitely give him credit, you know, for telling us and showing us all those places because that was cool, you know. And yeah, he knows a lot about that. And I asked him if he'd wrote a book about that, about Gettysburg. I don't think he's wrote one on that. I think he said he needs to.
well, his best book to me is the Spirit Photography book.
Yeah, that's a good book.
You know, that's one of my main books that I've always looked through in that. And it's amazing what he's done and what he's recorded.
Oh,
And
for
I
sure.
don't think I've asked you, but with your research and everything you do on all these investigations, is it all recorded somewhere?
Like our investigations we do privately.
Your private and public. Any
Yeah,
investigations?
our public investigations are all are our the ones we can go live on are all on our Facebook page. So yeah, you can go back way back to our live videos. I don't even know how many we've got on there. I don't know how many they'll eventually let us put on there, and I don't know if there's a limit to that or not. But
Right.
we've got a bunch of investigations that we done live on Facebook. We don't post a lot to YouTube. We're not trying to get famous or anything doing this. We're actually in it for the research and trying to to come
Help
up with new
people.
methods. Yeah, to help people. That's our thing. We're not here to make movies. Even though we've got a documentary right now. That's when I do participate in something like that. It is a documentary and something historical with accurate information. I don't like to portray stuff with the Hollywood glam effect to it. And that's why we're real careful on what we do as far as media. Let's say I've been approached by production companies and other stuff too, and I've told most of them no, over the years. So I mean, there's been a lot of stuff I've turned down, and I was even in a 6-month contract for a while with Pilgrim Studios, and I ended up turning them down. It's just I don't know. we try to do stuff scientifically, and it's hard when you've got these people that want to make it and turn it into an entertainment thing. But yeah, most of our live feed and our videos are on Facebook. The YouTube channel we have mainly is just my live talk shows I do. It dual streams to YouTube also, and we'll post some evidence videos on YouTube. But yeah, you can find them on there. But we do video and document our investigations that the public does not see also. We've done a really good ITC experiment and EVP research experiment here, I think it was last weekend. Courtney Bowen, one of my team members, she was videoing it. We had some very, very strange activity take place during that ITC research experiment we were doing.
And that's up on your page?
It's not, no. Like some of that's what I'm telling you. We record a lot of stuff privately that we don't post. But I might post that just because we got some extreme weird results and weird things going on that I believe shows paranormal activity and evidence of paranormal activity. So I may eventually do that. The only thing about it is we were using a little box speaker for our ITC device. We were using the ghost box and stuff we were using. We were Bluetooth into a little speaker.
Yeah.
It was a little square box, basically, speaker, and we had it on a flat tombstone, and it kept spinning. The speaker itself would spin, and it eventually launched off the tombstone upon command. We'd put it there, and we go, "Can you do that again?" and push it, and the speaker pushed off the tombstone again. Again, my skeptical side and debunking side says, did the vibrations from the speaker cause that? But we've tried it again and again and again. And we can't reproduce the same results. We can't get it to happen again.
You're not going to get any vibration on a piece of granite, are you?
I wouldn't think so. not like that. Yeah. So we may post that video.
Didn't you do that same thing with Dale? Wasn't Dale doing?
Yeah. Dale had a weird thing happen with the speaker too when we were out with him. Yeah, that was a different event at Ramsey or Casbar Cemetery over in Effingham, Illinois. Okay. Yeah, he had his speaker sort of did the same thing. He had it sitting on a tombstone, and he was I think he was, I don't know if he was in a Phasma box session, I can't remember, but yeah, that speaker flew off too at high speed. And I slowed that video down. Mikey sent me the video. I still can't come to a conclusion on whether it's paranormal or not. Just because of the angle it was setting on the tombstone, and again the possibility of vibration from the speaker. But it's extremely weird. I mean, I'm 50-50 on. I mean, it could be paranormal, it could be natural, because I mean, I don't know how it flew off at the speed it did.
Did you test it? Did you test that whole area with an EMF meter?
Yeah. We couldn't find any unusual EMF in that area.
Did you find any static electricity?
No.
Because it would repel it the same way.
What's that? I'm sorry.
It would repel it the same way.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, we couldn't find any unusual readings of anything abnormal readings in the area where both events took place. Our experiments, and I believe I used an EMF meter the night Dale had that happen. I think I checked it, but I can't remember. I think I used a millimeter. I wasn't using the tri-field or anything, which is way better than a millimeter. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what caused it.
What
Sorry, I'm
about
getting a phone.
go ahead.
I'm trying to end it, so people are calling me. Go ahead.
Okay. What about your investigation of a lifetime, the location, where would it be?
Like the best thing that's ever happened.
No, I
And I
mean,
wasn't meaning. I
yes,
meant meaning. I wasn't
in the,
meaning I was wanting to end my interview with you. I meant I was trying to end that phone call.
okay.
I was trying to get him to shut down here, quit calling me. But um, investigation like that I've done. You're saying
No,
best
no,
one?
no. In the future, a place
Oh,
that
like
overseas or here or wherever you
oh,
want it to be.
I've wanted to do this for years, and it will probably never happen because I think it's probably guarded by tanks. But I would like to get into the Great Pyramids, and do an investigation in Egypt, of the pyramids,
Yes.
and because I'm big into ancient religion and ancient, theories and all that stuff too. And I think it would just be cool to just even if it's outside the pyramids someday, do some type of ITC or EVP research regarding the pyramids and the Sphinx and all that. Try to record some stuff near that. But that's one of my dream spots that I'd like to go to someday. But like I said, I don't know if it'll ever happen. And I don't know if they've got it open anymore to the public, do they? Do you know anything about that?
I haven't heard one way or the other. I know they're still working there.
Yeah.
So obviously it's safe. I know I think about a year and a half ago, I knew somebody that went there.
Yeah.
And, I did some Rome stuff in Italy. So I was down in the
Oh, really?
catacombs. I was in the
Yeah.
catacombs taking pictures on a tour and
Uh-huh.
I got lost.
That's funny.
And
In the catacombs?
yes.
Oh, wow. That's not good.
And they were down and then they'd come up and around and, it was just cutouts in the wall of the tunnel and there would be bones in it
Oh, yeah.
all around the place. And then finally you could hear the people. I finally heard them and then it was getting closer, but they'd have intersections that come in and you could go off in three different directions.
That's
If you didn't
crazy.
know where the heck you were.
Yeah.
So it was pretty crazy. And
Yeah.
I lost all that film.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool. I've never done any catacombs like that. I don't
And
believe.
that was in the old Rome,
Yeah,
the Appian Way, the original old Rome, and the
cool.
Colosseum and all that.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah.
that was pretty cool. But hey, I think it's almost time, and I don't want to keep you too long because I know you're probably sleepy.
Oh, I'm fine.
It's been a great pleasure having you.
Thank
And
you.
the only other thing we could add was to have JD on and Courtney.
Yeah.
Say hello to him for me and wish him, and if we do this again down the road here a little bit, if you get some other time, you're
Okay.
more than welcome to come back. I love
Awesome.
it.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, they couldn't come tonight, but yeah, maybe we can get them on here and a couple of my team members or something next go around and talk to them too. So
Okay,
I
Jason.
appreciate you having me, Greg. It's always a pleasure when we're on investigations. I always like talking to you and hanging out with you, and doing EVP sessions. I mean, I have a blast when I'm with you guys. So
It's great. It's a pleasure to know you, and it's a pleasure to know that you're keeping Southern Illinois safe.
thank you. Thank you.
Okay, you have a good evening.
Thanks, Greg. You too.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.